And now it's recording. And yes, so this is a webinar that we wanted to do because we wanted to invite people in order for them to ask us where we're at and see what's happening, and also we are recording it so we can go back and see what we talked about, because this is very much also about aligning the work package 3 of the Erasmus Plus project, Me, You, Us. We started out on Monday with this steering group committee, which is two from each of the educational institutions, and we started out talking, evaluating on the work package 2, which was implementing our virtual prototyping, and we definitely saw something that we could do differently now, what in the work package to come, but we were also pretty happy with ourselves and what great huge job we had done. So it was both, we could see good things and also things that could be improved. And then on the Monday afternoon, we were joined by some teachers from the University of Ljubljana as well to talk about the website and how to make it user-friendly and opt the navigation. So that is also work in progress. And then by Monday evening, almost everyone had arrived, and we went out, because this is, as we have been advised by others who's done this, we also need to be social and understand each other from a cultural perspective, not just educational, but from who we are. And I think I talk for all of us now when I say that we're very happy to be physically together and not just in front of a screen. It adds immensely to it. Yeah, so on Tuesday, it's Wednesday today. On Tuesday, we went to do body scanning, and as we do not have a body scanner at this university, we went to some friends at the university college, and they had one, and we had body scanning of a woman and a man, and understood how to import it to clone it, so we can make it into a proper avatar as well. And that we tried doing today. And as it is often with the new things within technology and digital solutions, we are a little bit challenged. And it's not the same that we're not going to be able to do it, but we started instead having a great discussion on standard sizes, what kind of avatars do we use, what kind of dress mannequins do we use, what is the industry like, and so on. So this is we had a really good conversation where we tried to align what we're learning together and where we're going to go, because we're going to make these 3 course modules again that are based on the same body scanning and size and measures, but also very much fits into each university and what they want to do. So now I'm going to turn the computer around so you can see all the lovely people with me, and we're going to have just straight from the informal conversation of on the things we've done. So I'm going to turn it around, and you can see some people in this lovely room. Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I mean, sitting in a room
Nice.
like this, then you understand
Hello.
that sometimes you need a back.
We have many people. Nice. Hello.
So now I'm going to turn it out like this, and then hopefully people can either step up and go in front of the camera or lean in over and like that. So okay, I think I would like to, as the things I introduced right now, what we have done in the last couple of days, I think that we, and I can see I already forgot to mention something, but I will get to it. I forgot to mention we have been introduced also to a method about opening up the wardrobe. I hope you can see it from where you are. Yeah, good. And this is a way of getting to know your user, both user preferences and the way people buy and use and so on. And we have at the Design School Kolding in collaboration with the bestseller made these cards. This is Ulla, my colleague, who for work, but with some of the methods, so it's sort of easy to use on how you can interview people and get more knowledge on what they want from a sustainable approach. This. Okay, good. So let's. Do we want to touch about anything? Any highlights from the steering group meeting? There are only 6 of us are present in the steering group. Is there anything we need to bring to the full table of what we had of feedback and work package 2?
Yeah, I can say something. I think some of you have been also present at the final presentation, and we discussed for some time, and we don't have the answer yet, how we can get our students more involved and about what they want to learn, and that they also see that they have an impact on how we are, let's say, forming or formulating the following work packages. So it's also about our own users, about our own user involvement. So that was, I think, something we would really like to touch upon again, and rethink also our strategy, how we can motivate students to participate more in also like meetings like we have today, and also we evaluated a lot on is like online the format. Is that not, yeah, is that through Corona it was very nice to have, but now they also feel that, okay, there's another online webinar, and so that was an important point we discussed, I think.
Yeah. Any comments to that? Or I might just comment on it as well and say our users are also the other higher education. So we did also talk about in the presentation, the ones who were present there, were they already using digital tools, or how do we get to those who haven't started that yet? So that's definitely something to also keep in mind on how we approach them as well. Any other comments to? No. Any other comments to? No. Okay, then I think we'll just skip to the next thing. That was a very exciting for me, at least, and I think was for the others, was the demystifying of body scanning and just yeah, how it was. But I was thinking perhaps you can touch upon, perhaps we can talk a little bit about what we see as the pros, the possibilities of using body scanning, but also what could the barriers be or the obstacles be for using a body scanner. So anybody want to take either approach or both?
Well, I think actually the body scanning part, because we see that for sometimes students find it quite difficult to be confronted with the computer. As we said, this idea of engagement is hard. And personally, now also on reflection of what we've done here in the last couple of days, I do think that body scanning and scanning in general can be a really good way of bridging this gap between the physical realm, which I think has some kind of coincidence, or it's known to them and they feel quite trusted in it, and they know kind of how to deal with that, and making this direct connection to the digital realm, and see that there is a connection in between these two things. We are currently teaching also another block, but there's a lot of digital skill. You have to do technical drawing. And students sometimes say like, yeah, this is not creative. I'm just doing drawings. I'm not making fashion. But this relationship between the screen and what we wear, maybe as educators and people that are a little bit more experienced, they find it logical. But this is something that we have to cultivate. Maybe particular with a generation that went through a pandemic and really consumed fashion from a screen. And these two things do not yet 100% aligned. And I think body scanning, and also we think about material scanning and photogrammetry, these kind of techniques might really help to be a little bit more engaging and also give some kind of agency back to students.
We also discussed when to introduce it, because we have it now for the third year students, but just like with the technical drawings, only in hindsight they're like, oh, I could have applied it for this, or this is what I could have gotten out of it. So we were also discussing like, should we place it in another moment, or how are you gonna give it to them in smaller bits, so they do get an idea from what is possible, and then also where they might find themselves as a creator applying these tools. I think that was also very important.
Yeah, perhaps also so it doesn't just become an afterthought you have to do for production, but you actually could inform yourself that way and design as a design methodology. Yeah, Ulla?
Yeah, but I was the woman being scanned, or known as woman. But so I had kind of like a user experience as well as a researcher experience in a way. But and I think as a user or someone, because I've been talking about these avatars for a long time at Crystal, and what can we do with them? And so actually trying it out and how comfortable in a way it felt. Like it was an easy process, like and you're in the computer or something, but in a slightly awkward position. But what I was thinking of was that might also provide yourself as someone that uses garment as like an intimate, more playful room for your own body there. Like you can test out different things, what you like, and like an alternative dressing room or trying out room, because they're horrible to be in. So it's like a way maybe also understanding your own taste, but instead of taking selfies or whatever, you can play with things also as a normal person, not only a designer, or in the conversation with the designer or whatever. And then of course I think was hugely liberating also on the wall there in the scanning room to just see, like, it's nowadays, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but young people don't want to go to the swimming pool anymore because they don't want to take their clothes off in front of other people. So clothes are not normal anymore. We only see the manipulated, perfect bodies everywhere. So this is also an opportunity to maybe get some kind of, scope and broadness into what do we actually look like through life and, through different phases in our life, and just because we're different, all of us. And I think it has to, that can be really powerful, I think, in accepting ourselves and getting that into fashion as well. That, fashion is not only for one body type, it's for all of us.
Thank you. Any more comments on the, so perhaps any other thing on the body scanning? Yes, Tanya?
Maybe we used yesterday a professional scanner, and it might be useful for students to find another way for photogrammetry or something to do this by themselves, that they can explore like on their own way, on their own computers, because this is very, very expensive.
Yes.
So photogrammetry is something that is very easy to create body from that. So I think that we might think about that as well. Maybe they already know how to use photogrammetry because they're sometimes
you think of like in an app or something on your phone, or what do you think?
Or maybe just use camera and use proper software to they can make bodies. So it's an alternative to that professional body scanner.
It is, I think, super interesting thinking about this technology, and especially this kind of big machinery. We're talking about inclusion, we're talking about democratization. So also really consider the democratization and accessibility of these kind of machines, because as also it was said, like the most unsustainable garment is an unused garment, and actually the same counts for maybe these machines. And it would be nice if we even would speculate about networks of these kind of machines, of this kind of technology, to make it more accessible for students. Like, I really liked it that, we were welcome at VIA to, do this thing there. And this kind of institutional exchange of this kind of technology will also really, of course, increase the accessibility and also the usability of these kind of mediums. So.
And now you're talking about the students can use it like that, but eventually if people could go into a booth and have it done, so you have the customers knowing as well.
That would even be better. We talked about a place of a shop, a place of consumption, maybe also a place for education, and I don't know, maybe big shops can have these kind of things too.
Yeah.
Like a photo booth.
Yeah, photo.
Can I add something to this?
Like in the shoe shop where you would have to, like in the past, this machine that would measure your foot.
Tanya, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say that the theme of this project is also expanding creativity of students.
Yeah.
So I think that all these easiest and cheapest things they find, it's nice to them to expand creativity at the beginning.
Absolutely, it's a really good point. Yeah. Antje, did you have a comment as well?
Yeah, I really still thinking about what Ulla was saying about the representation of. For me, it was really to see your body on the screen as an avatar. I felt really relieved in a way, you know, like yeah, you know, it's and you have beautiful sizes, you know. You have like no, because we were fitting. We were also in the workshop this morning. We were fitting we were talking about the sizes of each country, and so Nadia was actually fitting the Slovenian size 36 on your body. So that went really.
I was red everywhere.
No, but yeah, for me, I think this notion of like that's. I mean, yeah, we were also talking about this morning about this. Yeah, a lot. When you see the digital body, it's always perfect, beautiful, and I think. Yeah, so I really like this idea that we see more of normal bodies in the digital sphere, and yeah, I may be repeating a little bit what you're saying, but I think it's an important thing to work further on, and at least I think this experience also for a student might be really revealing, you know. And this was also something they did already, like in the last work package, where they at our university were putting in the sizes of their body. Paulina, I think they did. But still, when you see your full body scan, it's really a total different experience.
It suddenly looks real. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just this smooth curve, you know. It's perfect. It's perfect natural body, and it looked really nice, I think, today.
Yeah.
When we tried it, I agree.
And it's of course not something radically strange. It is exactly the same as with physical education. Like students often they want their perfect dress on the perfect mannequin on the stock mount with a nice curvy breast. That's exactly how they want it. And then you, as an educator, you often say, like, okay, looks nice, let's put it on the real body, and then everything kind of. So it is not like it's not even that different. Like considering a real body that moves and breathes and is not 100% symmetric.
But of course, one of the big barriers is the cost of a body scanner. So, so let's, and we are all three educations here. We're from the creative world, so I just have to go be very artistic and creative. Yeah.
I think the whole talk about how close fitting from the body scan, it also sort of sparked a discussion on should we then all do super customized individual things, and that of course that's not the only strategy in terms of, you know, lowering waste and, you know, overproduction and consumption, but that maybe companies should be forced, or designers as well, to think about their strategic approach to how do they want to construct and fit, or how do they want to prolong the lifetime of garments through also the way they fit and construct and these things. So whether that's like to do with that it can be, you know, have multi-functionality, or it can be separated and used for something else that can change shape, or it can be over, like draped, basically, like some cultures have more, or what is the approach?
Yeah, is there a question, or was it a comment from you, Fernanda, on the, let's see what, I'm just going to have a look. You say in the year 2000, there was a company in the US offering body scanners in malls. I think they were too ahead of the time. Yeah, that's the thing. You can be such a thing as well. That data was bought by Alvanon, as we talked about Alvanon, because we talked about dress mannequins and Alvanon, we talked about how we have Stockman here in the house, and we have Alvanons and Stockmans, like what you could aspire to look like, and Alvanon makes the one that, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I think I can find this research that I did. It was, I think, 2 years ago, and I can share with you. Maybe it will help.
Lovely, thank you very much.
It was really interesting. They would place body scanning machines in malls, and their idea was for you to know your body and then go and shop at the store in the mall. Today is different, right? We shop online, but I think it's really interesting to see what they were doing 20 years ago.
Yeah, and even you perhaps need your avatar even more today if you shop online, so you can see where the stress is and so on.
Yeah.
Beate, did you have a question or? No?
I have to switch off in 2 minutes, but I wrote like some comments and feedback, so I will just put it in the chat. So
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great. Love it.
Can I ask something, Fernanda? Is there actually also companies, like who use Clo as a software? Do they also ask about like this import of avatars or the use of avatars for their web shops or like?
Yeah, we have both. We even have, for example, a training just to teach how to import an avatar from a body scan. Why not? Yes, it's quite common, and we see also many companies willing to offer this on their website. Yeah, the virtual try-on, as we call it. Yeah, this is something that is evolving quite fast.
And they do that mainly because of the reason to shorten the returns, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's...
Yeah, that was the body scanning yesterday. And then this morning we ended up discussing or talking about the standard, the industry and how to go about that. But we don't have an awful long time left, so I was just wondering as well whether we should talk about another method that was introduced. I mean, one was a digital method, now there's this person-to-person method of the opening up the wardrobe. Any comments to, I mean, you had a very short time in getting to use it, but you were set a little task of trying to see how could we use it in what could be the goals for your work package 3 now. So any comments to the methods, and was it easy? Was it applicable? Do you think, to me?
It's workable, and it's a nice way to start a conversation with a student from a teacher's perspective, and to make them aware about the user, because that's something that's well, it's not always the first thought when designing a collection, for example.
Especially for students, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think maybe within the companies, this is one of the first questions later on, but I guess because obviously you're selling to the customer, but as a teacher and, you know, within the academics, clearly that's maybe not the first question for a student. And I think those methods were brilliant, I think. I think in Ljubljana we will probably adopt them beyond me or us probably, because they are really applicable, really, and easy to use, I think. So that's great. Yeah.
I just had one comment, because all the companies we talked with, they're of course saying that it's designed for our users, but none of them have never or have ever visited their user or actually talked to them. So it's more like a persona than a person in a way. So
Yes, I agree. I think obviously there is a level.
Yes.
How in that they go with the design and how they think about the system, of course.
But very few do it across.
It's interesting also because I do think within also fashion design education and also our students, there has been a paradigm shift. Whereas a longer time ago, we had the mini Carls that said like, I want to dress the world. I'm gonna do this and this and this to the world. And it really came from this idea of the visionary or the pioneering designer. And I do think that fashion and the democratization of fashion has really contributed to also now a lot of more students that are more coming from the consumer side, like I want to express myself through fashion. Fashion for me is about self-expression. I think that is at the moment a topic that a lot of our students relate to. They don't say like I want to control fashion, but they are much more about their self-expression, about their gender or their heritage or any of these personal tropes. So I do think also starting off with a user experience, it will also help students relate, consider their own position, but also that this position actually throughout your career doesn't really change. Because you have to always consider it is actually where fashion does start, because there is the otherness of the other. You cannot actually design really for the other. I think that is often the problem if you don't engage with them.
Yeah, and I think it's also a question in all the power structures, right? And hierarchical structures, and design is a big part of that as well. Designers and our own role in all of that. So I think this is part.
Paulina, did you want to say something or no?
It was already said, but I actually did research into that last year about using a configurator online and on fashion and how you're identifying yourself, and it was indeed more and more about seeing yourself in the product, but with enough distance that it's not too intimate actually, because we were discussing about it can be difficult for our students to go and ask questions, but yet they want to see themselves in the product, so they that's still being like a shift, like okay, I want to identify myself but not too much, where do I keep distance from the technology but I want to be included. So that's still a little dance that's happening.
It's quite paradoxical
on how to apply it, but I do think that with the tools that we're using today, it made it maybe more the threshold lower for the students, because they, like when we started talking about it, the first idea is like, okay, I have to go and ask somebody something, and that feels like very invasive, maybe too many. And then these tools show that there are many other ways of coming about the information that you need and still be in contact with your user group. So I think that was a great addition.
It is really the idea of creating a safe space. For example, a very personal question that I do also teach at another department. I always ask them like really directly, okay, what is your favorite song? And that's a very intrusive kind of question these days. Like music taste has become, because we only listen through our earphones, it's a very intimate thing, whereas in the past where you had the radio, it would always be communal. But then actually what I found is like, okay, that's really kind of this direct approach, and that's very scary. But if you say like, can you open your Spotify and show us like your favorite list or something, or just show something. I mean, it's also intrusive, but it's not so. And they often figure things out about themselves, because like, oh, this is what I listen to. We're all surprised when Spotify released at the end of the year our favorite songs of that year. It's really painful. It's like a miracle. But that's also what I feel like with these methodologies. I think also you ask the user, but also the user actually doesn't have all the answers, and you help them even, I think, learn things about themselves, and I think that's really interesting.
And the method can create a safe space for the student who's asking, but also for the interviewee, right? So it's
because you're looking together.
Any other comments on
I mean,
this?
now I've been part of us having to do a wardrobe study, and a lot of us did it on someone we knew, and I think that also makes a difference, because you're not doing it on yourself, because that's also, as you say, very close, and you're also not doing it on a stranger, but you're doing it on someone you know and care about, hopefully. And so it still gets intimate in a way where you have to think about someone else's needs, and I think I really like that.
It's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and often it comes like when students do water studies on users, actually the users have quite often perception of what they like, and then to come find out, actually I never wear this. So I think it's also often really a surprise for the sort of user to be confronted with her own preferences and patterns, and there's a lot of learning involved.
Or having 50 of the same type.
Yeah, exactly.
And then not saying that that's your favorite thing.
No, exactly. Yeah. But it's also a way, I think, the difference in just interviewing people about what they like or what they want. It's when you have the things, physical things, they speak along. They also say, express things, or you can talk things we don't have language for. We can point or show or feel here, or it sits well here, but we only realize it when we wear it and talk about it. So by having the things there, we get a lot more information. Yeah, useful information.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna just, before we go to Q&A, just any other topics we should mention here? Somebody who, I want to say something about this and this, or as we talked about, is there anything we should bring here, because time's flying when you're having fun? Any?
No, just to say, I think that all this understanding of users, like how can the digital tools help meet those needs? Like what we're looking at.
When we did say using these different tools and methods, maybe you don't realize it at first, but as a creator, what influence do you have? And maybe your biases, or it will change along the way, so that it's also something that needs to continuously keep evolving. It was also mentioned by Nadine this morning, so that is also something that maybe at first it seems like you know it, but you see that every time you figure something out, which we also did this morning, because we were trying to bring the avatars to 3D, and then people were like, oh, but you also learned something. I'm like, yes, of course, because there's always another way or a different goal. So that's also very important to keep in mind.
Maybe we should read quickly the comments of Barbara.
Beate.
So
Beate, okay, I'm going to read out what Beate said before she left. I wanted to share two thoughts about body scans. One, following the fear of nudity in the pool, it would be good to think about the physiological implications. We did research with Parsons Paris students on avatar design, and they felt triggered, and one person asked if they can work with other body than their own. So the question of consent and safety is important. Second point she's pointing out, I spoke to Matthew Drinkwater about LCF, massive and expensive body scan study, and he mentioned that so much can be already achieved with apps that it could be a great starting point for others that don't have such access. And that technology in our phones is advancing that fast that schools will have to see if in 3 to 5 years these investments were such a great idea. Okay, we'll hold that budget. We'll just keep going. We'll just keep visiting friends. Yeah, we'll just have to keep visiting friends instead. And then it also promotes more independent work the students can do on their own, as you said, Tanya, as well. Key is the accessibility here. Question of AI and body generation is also valid here. I gotta go now. Wish I could stay longer. It was lovely to see you all. Amazing work from Beate. Yeah.
I have actually a question now, maybe for Chloe, to be honest, just informal. But did Chloe ever try using those apps to bring avatar, to clone avatar in the program, in the software?
So we bring the files all the time. This is quite common. I was even going to ask if you need any help with that, because if there's any questions, and also how was this process, because I'm sure we can help. So yeah, we do that all the time, and we have partners and clients that work with body scanners as well.
Okay, and what about those apps that Tanya mentioned before? Have you ever tried something like that?
No, not the app, not myself, but I talked to a school the other day and they use an app. So I can try to find this information. But yeah, so their students use an app from their phone.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. When I read Beata's message, I thought the same because our phones now, like the new iPhone with the LIDAR technology, LIDAR, LIDAR, it already comes with this possibility to scan a 3D object, right? So I'm sure this will be much more accessible in the near future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So so the Q&A was going to be for you, but now we're having all the questions.
Yes, so also in regard to importing the avatars, because we have noticed that there have been updates to the avatars, and like the VF2 versions. Now, if you wanted to do the auto-convert to avatar, it only works like to 3 of the most recent avatars. Is this being expanded, or do you know why this might be happening? Because I can Feifei or Emma, they're all like
So you can, let me see if I understood right. When you use the auto-convert avatar, you have only 3 options of avatars to convert your avatar to. Is that it?
I guess it's been updated to the latest avatars, right? Because you had already and it's been updated.
I can say something about that. So basically, the developers, they only want to use the newest avatars from now on. So that's why you don't want to use the older avatar anymore. So that's why you only have these 3 options.
Okay, like the more we're using the different parts, I'm like, oh, it also applies to this. Like, okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's probably because it has new technology to it. So it would be even easier and it would happen less bugs as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so open for Q&As from you, Fernanda and Lucille. Do you have any comments or questions or?
No, I think it was just a great session. It's really nice to hear everyone's perspective. I think you've listed the main points, I would say. I want to share with you this little research that I did a while ago, that I found this body scanner in the mall might help. And please let us know if you're having any difficulties when importing the avatars back to Klo. We can always help. We're here to do that. But yeah, no, just it was really good to watch and participate. And Lucy, do you have anything to add?
No, it was really nice, and thank you for having us.
Yeah,
and it's very cool.
Thank you. I think I'll just say one last thing about importing the avatars. I think it was more impatient that it was absolutely doable, but we were just a bit impatient, weren't we? Or what? I mean, you got it to work, right? Yeah. So it was just impatience of talking and discussing all the other things as well. So don't worry about that.
Okay, good.
Not a big.
Nice.
It was just impatience and
Yeah.
Yeah, Nadine?
Yeah, I have one comment to Beata's comment about that students feel confronted with their own body, which I can understand. But I think in that sense, the work package U offers a different possibility because it's about somebody else and not themselves. So, and that I think we can tackle, because it's confronting to have your own avatar and a representation of yourself. So I think in that sense it's very valuable that we focus in this work package on a different user, and then we have to of course find a volunteer like Ula, or the students have to find a volunteer who is then also really
But of course, it is always also possible that also your test subject does not consent with their body, and that's of course you also will have to find sometimes ways around that. For example, I gave the example today that we have one student and she's very much interested into modest design and the modest design movement. Because she also says like, yeah, this program, there are actually difficulties also, for example, that she finds it sometimes difficult, you know, from her religious background, that, for example, male designers are looking at women and they can even make their bra, etc., disappear. But she says like, yeah, in a way, within my culture, that is quite problematic. And it doesn't help that she is like has one classmate who, I don't know, he makes very sexual women's wear, and he says like, I want to also create and have this discussion of safe spaces, and also when, for example, a program like Clo or any other virtual program, if it's moving, for example, she comes from the Middle East, she says like, I can imagine that, for example, for a design school in the Middle East, you would have basic garments that you cannot make disappear. And she's just like, yeah, because I do feel sometimes that it's like a lot of skin for my cultural sensitivity, which I think it's a very interesting kind of area that's when we talk about inclusivity, it's really important also to consider, and I think also that this work package can really be meaningful.
But also your point about whether your end user want to be scanned.
Yes, exactly. And or if they want to be scanned with, I don't know, modesty garment on, and then you have to deal with that.
Okay, I think that was it from us, because as you can hear, we can go on and on and on. and I must say we're really enjoying being together here and having all these conversations so many other things. So thank you very much for participating in this. And now you know a little bit more about where we're going. We are aligning, and then we will start researching and developing after the workshop. There's time for researching what area do we want to develop within, and then we'll invite you in again when we have something more to present as well.
That's
right?
perfect. Yes, thank you so much, Christelle, and to everyone that I'm not seeing now. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So say bye to everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.